Hello, my dear little one. Are you all snuggled in nice and cozy? Go ahead and hug your favorite teddy bear or pull your softest blanket right up to your chin. Because I am about to tell you a story, a very special story all about a little bit of magic called courage. Our story begins in a beautiful green forest, so green it looked like it had been painted with every shade of green in the whole wide world. The trees were so tall they seemed to reach up and tickle the clouds, and in their branches, little birds sang their happiest songs. And winding through this magical forest was a little river that hummed a quiet, gentle song as it flowed. Its water was so clear and so clean, you could look right down to the very bottom and see every single smooth, colorful little stone sleeping there in the sand. And right here by the edge of this singing river lived a very special little otter. His name was Dot. Now, if you looked at Dot, you'd think he was just like all the other otters, with his shiny chocolate brown fur that was so soft to the touch, and his long twitchy whiskers that wiggled when he was curious, and his big dark eyes that sparkled with mischief. He was so lively and so very cute, wasn't he? But our little Dot had a secret. A big, surprising secret that he kept tucked away deep inside his heart. A secret that would make everyone gasp if they ever found out. So what was this big secret? Are you ready? Well, our little otter Dot was super, super, super afraid of water. Can you even imagine that? An otter who was supposed to love the water more than anything was actually terrified of it. Just picture this. Every single day, his brothers and sisters would gather at the riverbank, their eyes sparkling with excitement. And then, one by one, plop, they'd dive in, sending happy splashes high into the air. Swoosh, they'd chase each other's tails, twisting and turning like little underwater acrobats. Their happy squeals and laughter would echo all through the trees. They would always pop their wet, shiny heads out of the water, wave their little paws, and call out in their cheerful voices, "Dot, Dot, hurry up and come play with us. The water is perfect today, and there are so many little silver fish dancing in the sunbeams." But Dot, oh no. Dot would just hold on tightly, so tightly, to the big, knobby tree root that grew on the riverbank. He'd wrap his paws around it like it was his best friend, shake his head back and forth until his ears flopped, and shout, "No way! The river is too cold, and it's too deep, and it's too wet. I'm not coming near you." But even though Dot was afraid of water, he had something else he loved to do more than anything in the whole world. Can you guess what it was? That's right, it was painting. Painting was Dot's own little magical world, a safe and happy place where he could create anything he imagined right at the end of his paintbrush. His dream was to become the most amazing, the most incredible landscape painter in the entire forest. And his paintings, they really were beautiful. He would paint the tall mountains in the distance that looked like fluffy green cotton candy you could almost taste. He would paint the big, wide-open skies that looked like sparkling, see-through sapphire jewels. And he would paint the grassy meadows filled with lots and lots of tiny red flowers that looked like they were all waving hello in the breeze. But, for some reason, every single time he finished a painting and held it up to admire it, he felt a little tug in his heart. He felt like something was missing. There was an empty space in all of his pictures, a little bit of sparkle that he just couldn't seem to capture. And so every day, Dot would put his brushes down, sigh a little sigh, and whisper very quietly to himself, "It's okay, Painter Dot. You don't have to be brave today. We can just paint the trees again tomorrow." That was his way of telling himself not to think about the one beautiful thing he was most afraid of, the shimmering, sparkling, singing river. Then, one day, it was such a lovely day. The sun was shining like a big, warm smile in the sky, and its golden rays felt so nice and cozy on his fur. The little birds were singing their happiest songs, and the air smelt sweet like honey and wildflowers. Dot was in a very good mood. He decided it was the perfect day to paint. He found the perfect spot, right on a big, flat rock that had been warmed by the sun. It was his favorite painting spot. He carefully set out his little pots of paint and was painting a single beautiful purple flower that was blooming right beside the rock. He was concentrating so hard, so very focused on getting the color just right that his little tongue was sticking out of the corner of his mouth and his long tail was curled right up high in the air without him even noticing. He was in his own happy, quiet, painted little world. He dipped his brush into the purple paint, and just as he was about to add the perfect final touch to a delicate petal, a little ladybug landed right on his nose. It tickled! And just then, oops, with a sudden whoosh, Dot's little hand slipped on a smooth part of the rock. And his most beloved paintbrush, the special one made of beautiful red wood that his grandpa had given him, flew from his grasp. It began to tumble, end over end, golem, down the side of the big rock. It looked just like a mischievous little fish swimming away from him. It rolled and it rolled, picking up speed, all the way to the grassy river's edge. And then, with a little pat as it hit the soft dirt, and then a big plop, it fell right into the river water, making a perfect little circle of ripples that spread out and out and out. "Oh no!" Dot cried out, jumping to his feet so fast he almost slipped himself. He was so worried. He started pacing back and forth on the big rock, his little heart beating like a drum inside his chest. Thump, thump, thump. He kept murmuring, his voice trembling, "My paintbrush, my special red paintbrush fell in. Without it, what will I do? I can't paint the best scenery without my favorite brush." Dot just stood there at the edge of the rock, his eyes wide with panic as he watched his precious paintbrush slowly sink down into the clear water he was so very scared of. What was he going to do? In that moment, watching his favorite thing in the world sink into his biggest fear, Dot's mind went all fuzzy with panic. His paws felt shaky, but then he did something surprising, even to himself. He stood very still and he closed his eyes. He took a deep breath in, filling his little lungs with the sweet forest air, and then slowly, with a soft whoosh, he let all the scared air out. Then, Dot opened his eyes. He looked right at the spot in the water where his paintbrush had disappeared. He spoke to himself in a very, very quiet voice, but this time, his voice wasn't shaky with fear. It was firm and it was serious. He said, "Painter Dot, you need to be brave. You love painting more than you fear the water. You have to try. Just try one little step, that's all." And so he did it. He took that one last deep breath to gather up all the courage he could find in his little heart, and then, slowly, oh so very, very gently, he slid off the big, warm rock. He crept to the water's edge. He reached out one of his little front paws, he squeezed his eyes shut, and he dipped just the very tip of it into the river water. Wow! Dot's eyes flew open wide in surprise. He had always imagined the water would be freezing cold and shocking, but it wasn't. He discovered that the river water wasn't icy and scary at all. Instead, it was cool and gentle and soft. It felt like lots and lots of tiny, soft, invisible hands were gently giving his paw a tickly little massage. It swirled around his toes, and it felt wonderful. Feeling much braver now, a little smile crept onto Dot's face. He carefully took another little step into the water, and then another, until the cool water was swirling around his ankles. It felt so refreshing. He bent down, peering through the crystal clear water, which acted like a magnifying glass, and he reached his hand toward the riverbed to pick up his precious red wood paintbrush. And it was in that very moment that he saw it. Wow! Down in the water, nestled in the soft sand right next to his paintbrush, was something magical. It was a super surprising secret gift that was sparkling just for him. The sunlight shone down through the water and made everything glitter and glow. He couldn't help but let out a happy little gasp. "Oh my goodness!" Because right there, next to his little feet, were so many little stones, all sparkling and shining as the sunlight danced through the water. They were like a secret treasure chest that the river had been hiding all along. Look, there were smooth white stones, as soft-looking as fluffy little clouds on a summer day. And there were bright yellow stones that glittered like little pieces of the sun had fallen right into the river. And oh, there were deep blue stones, the exact same color as the sky in his paintings. And there were even lovely pink stones that looked just like delicate, wet flower petals that had floated down to the bottom. Seeing all of these beautiful, sparkling underwater treasures, Dot totally forgot how scared of the water he had been just a moment ago. All of his fear had just washed away with the gentle current of the river. He quickly grabbed his redwood paintbrush, holding it tightly in one paw, and then he used both his little hands to scoop up a big, happy, dripping armful of the shiny, sparkly, colorful stones. With a happy little splash, he waded back to the riverbank, his fur dripping and his arms full of his new treasure. His heart felt so excited it was practically bouncing, so full of joy and new ideas. He kept saying to himself in a happy whisper, You did it, Painter Dot. You were brave. And now I'm going to paint this beautiful, sparkling underwater world. But this time, when he got back to his big, flat, sun-warmed rock, Dot didn't use his usual paints from their little pots. Oh no, he had something much, much better. He carefully laid out his treasures, and he picked up a smooth, wet blue stone. He used it as his new paintbrush, driving its beautiful, wet color across the surface of the big rock. Right there, on the surface of the big rock, he painted his masterpiece. He used a blue stone to draw the little fish swimming freely in the water. He used a long green one to paint the water plants that swayed gently back and forth, dancing to the river's quiet song. And of course, he dotted his amazing painting with the sparkling colors of all those underwater jewels he had found. This painting was truly the most beautiful and the most special one he had ever created in his whole life, because it was made with courage. And from that day on, do you know what happened? Our little painter Dot was never afraid of the water again. In fact, he loved swimming with his brothers and sisters, discovering new treasures at the bottom of the river every day. He had discovered something truly magical. He learned that when you are brave, the most unexpected and wonderful things can happen. He finally understood what was missing from his paintings before. It wasn't a color from a paint pot, it was the color of courage. He learned that sometimes all it takes is one brave little step. And those places that seem a little scary, the places we don't dare to go, might just be hiding the world's best and most sparkling surprises. So, my dearest little friend, the next time you feel a little bit scared in your heart, when you feel like you don't quite dare to do something new, maybe you can remember our little painter, Dot. And maybe you can whisper gently to yourself, "It's okay, I can be brave. I can just take one tiny little step first." Shall we try that together? So now I want you to think quietly for a moment. Is there anything today that you would like to take one brave little step to try? You can whisper it to your teddy bear, or you can tell me, or maybe you can tell your mom or dad later. Because just like Dot, you never know what wonderful, sparkling treasures you might find.